Hello, good people. So we're hustling here in Penasco to finish the motor mount area, and the neighbor Barry comes up and says, "So what are you going to do about the other side? Why don't you make it bigger to match?" And it made me realize, yeah, we could get a proper swim ladder on the back of the boat now. So here we go. We took 2 layers of the carpet foam board and made a much wider swim step that'll take the new ladder. Then we got to work widening the bench in the main salon into a full pilot berth. We're getting pretty far in the pilot berth extension, but it doesn't always go as planned. See this little temporary support piece? Yeah, guess what? There's a screw in the face of it, right way up under there. I got all the other ones out because there was room. Didn't plan on this. So I'm gonna hack away, just cut the thing apart and try to yank the screw out. All right, good people, it's Monday night. We're done. Gonna leave early tomorrow to head back towards San Francisco, and Marvin of Gen M's coming with me, so he's going all the way to Seattle. 15 days of boat work. Here's what you get. This is the pilot berth extension, the black part. Makes it wider up there. The head's gonna go there now. More comfortable for Anton. Got the gussets in last night. There's a nice piece of wood trim, but gonna go ahead and take it home and do more sanding and polyurethane it. You'll notice that the port lights are not in. There just hasn't been an opportunity to get the exterior painting done weather-wise, so not gonna happen. Big changes. There's the primary engine wrapped up, the hole where it used to be. Okay, there's the radar tower ready for final fairing and paint. Let's check it out. Super strong. The loudspeaker hailer will go here and the radar up there. Put these little rings on so there's no metal. I don't want any screws to hold the wire clamps. That's for wire clamping. The alcohol bottles on the new extended swim step, and it's kind of straight across the back there because the folding swim ladder will step down from that. That's fresh carbon that went on last night. This is looking down at the top of the motor mount box. Spent the afternoon working out the rigging tunnel. Gonna move the autopilot port up and bring the cables and power through here, and the gasoline in a separate conduit through here. And they'll just run right here. This is the seriously beefed up base of the pelagic autopilot mount. So the tiller pilot mounts here and it comes this way, and right at the stub of the tiller there's the connecting pin. So it's got a lot of lateral force across the boat. So this thing, the mount got beefed up, the mounting to the boat. Okay. Final look at the motor box in rough form. Super happy with how this came out. Got carbon outer skins last night. It's all 1708, so 17 ounce double bias glass with 8 ounce chop strand mat backing, doubled up, double tabbing insides, carbon unis across the 10 inches of the back here. They run down, you can see them ending on the boat. So they come here and they flare and catch the boat in a lot of spots. That's giving its forward thrust and keep it from drooping down. It's pretty tricky getting all the shape. I like it. A little bit of a hollow right here. Might slap a little wave, but we could come back with foam later and fill it in. But I wanted the structure to be as close to the hull as possible here. It's getting pretty hard to get all this figured out because we don't want to drop the water line down at all. I think all that's well above the water though, but we'll see when we go sailing. This is a good shot because since the boat was launched, that great big motor mount box was right here. So it's gonna be really nice to not have that interfering with the water. We've left the hinges. That old box is going home to get reborn into a mount for the dinghy motor. And the boom can be brought right here, so it'll just be a straight lift now. Storing the dinghy motor outside, dropping it right down to the taco cat. We're going to use the strength of this system right here to make that. New escape hatch area. That's the inner one, a little bit of redo to it. See this splayed out stuff right here? This is Dyneema pulled through a hole and spread out and glued down, so there's a loop on the inside, and I'm doing that wherever I can to get rid of metal fasteners and any chance for rust. So these just have little loops to keep and catch the big backing nuts that hold the doors on. The escape hatch is made of 2 parts. You guys can see this is the inner door. Oh, sorry, that guy was open up there. There's the inner door, and the outer door you'll see next time. It's much thinner because it has to sit in this recess. It's a super stiff carbon panel, and then there's neoprene rubber that goes around this ring, and a great big turning knob, and the 2 knobs are pulling a 1/2-inch stainless shaft together, threaded shaft, and it squeezes, compresses down a nice circle here to make a perfect seal. Finally got that super watertight. Thank you, Skateaway Design, for that great idea. On the list for coming back in January, I did not get to the blasting off of this paint. Having trouble figuring out why we're getting dissimilar metal corrosion. Everything's bushed out separately here. There's something going on. So anyway, we're gonna strip these down and reprime them and see if we can get somewhere. Too much fairing here. There's a lot of stress in this area, so we'll get rid of all that, bring it back just to the root. Clean up. Oh yeah, this is nice. This is the new bowsprit base. There was 2 tangs here before sticking out plainly with a washer thing in between that was for a different system that didn't work out for this boat. So gone and made a solid fill block here. This guy's selling water, but we don't need... Oh, toilet pump out. I didn't know they come to the boat. I've been walking to the toilet every time. Huh. Should check that out for January. Still gonna put... do some Kevlar work here. Protect for the anchor. Most people just put stainless steel up there, but you know, more rust. I'd rather just do a little Kevlar sheeting, and that way it can always be painted. Anchor banging around. Okay. I guess it doesn't look like a lot in the video, but man, 15 days of 12 to 14 hours a day, just pounding it on a whole bunch of different topics here. Getting it all done. And you can see our load. This is all stuff that's going to go live in the boat. The last task tonight is to pack up to go home. Yeah, we're taking home the dinghy and the dinghy motor, do a full servicing, and go blasting around the Petaluma River in the winter time. Okay, everybody. See you on the road tomorrow. Okay, maybe not quite done. It's 10:30 at night. Oh man, I just have to make the last bit of patterns here so we can take measurements home to be able to make stuff to bring right back. So templating pattern for a new mattress for this berth. Then I got to go in the head, and there's a couple of pieces of trim I want to do. Need to measure for a little bit of trim right back here, and 14 feet on the engine control cables. That, and make a bunch of peanut butter and jelly sandwiches because COVID's raging in California and I don't want to stop anywhere. Okay, good night. Good morning, everybody. Back home. Left Puerto Penasco at 9:30 a.m. yesterday, Tuesday. Got in last night here at home at 2:30 a.m. this morning. That was after dropping Marvin off at San Francisco Airport at a hotel nearby for a morning flight, and to go back to Seattle to join his family. So great having Marvin from Gen M on the road trip yesterday. Working at Puerto Penasco, good place for a DIY. Get it done. You got to take everything you need. Not really chandleries there, and it's a little hard to navigate hardware stores. People were having stuff shipped from American companies to Lukeville, which is about an hour drive north. So if you've got access to a car down there, you can get stuff brought to the border and run up and get it. It works okay. I did fine, had everything I needed. Ran out and got some masking tape once and a can of Bondo to do a little bit of underneath the glass work, building out some of the shapes. getting down there, I definitely cut the miles off by going through the Mexicali and Yuma first time borders, but in retrospect, not worth it. 2.5 hour crossing time from Mexico back into the US and Mexicali yesterday. Huge lines, crappy roads. Probably worth the extra, probably 50 miles of driving on Interstate 8, go down to the Arizona border down there, across at Lukeville to Sonora in Mexico. Super easy border crossing. It's all set up for Americans with boats, basically. So if you're trailering down there or driving down, I'd say do the extra miles. It's worth it. So it's too cold down there is what ended up happening to finish all painting work. Plus, I'm gonna be home for Christmas. So I'm gonna watch the weather carefully, and as it warms up, just like 5 more degrees, I'll be able to get the 2-part paint to flash off. So I brought stuff home, give you a little run through what we're gonna work on while we're here. Pretty easy list. This is the little boarding ladder that we hang over the side when we're at a dock, and to get some permanent trim pieces on here and get it into a redoable, easily done orange paint. It's the hike steering stick. It's just like 1.5 feet too short, so I've got this really nice piece, super light, that I had already glassed for another project, didn't end up using. So I'm going to figure out how to bridge those two things that are made out of the same inner core. The pilot berth, which is now wider, didn't quite get to final finishing that wood trim. We'll do that here. And this guy has to get remade, so it's wider. It's grown like 11 inches up there. Hopefully Ginny will help me with that. The escape hatch board is great, but I did, when I was down there, have to grind away the edge, so it needs a little refinish. We'll get some glass around that, wrap glass around the edge of that and finish that off. Gonna break out the Sailrite sewing machine, shorten the jack line where you hook your safety tether to another 15 inches, because that webbing has a lot of stretch to it. It's too loose on deck. This is the life sling bag we made up last year. No big deal, but this is how it hangs on the lifeline. Gonna add a second row of these little hangover grabbers so it fits more snugly on the boat. You guys saw this swim ladder mount place on the back of the boat. That's the ladder we built last year to hang from the side, but it's so buoyant, sort of banging around and just not the way we want to board the boat from swimming. That's a metal ladder I took down. Either going to have to get this extended. It needs at least another rung, ideally 2, or just buy a folding, or I think a telescoping would be the way to go for the boat. Get that going. The old engine mount is going to get repurposed. Basically, to about this much of it is going to be how we hang the dinghy motor in the up position. That'll be great. So the main benefit is reusing this structure right here, which there's already accepting pins or accepting hinges on the boat for. So there'll be 0 modification of the boat to put this on. Looking forward to that. Those are the big ones. We brought the Taco Cat home. This is our 11-foot New Zealand-based dinghy. It fits in these 2 bags. We call it Taco, but it is the tacacat.com 340 model, closed bow. I think there's a small leak on the floor, so we're going to repair that, give her a good cleaning. And our awesome 54-pound, I think it is, Tohatsu 9.8. When it sat in the out in the float for the 5 months during the quarantine period, there was a little bit of moisture in the bottom of the hull there, so that air did not help this poor little guy. So you can see all the corrosion in the paint. So I'm going to strip this down, get it repainted, and do a carb cleanout. She's running a little bit rough still. I think she just needs a little bit of love. Like, this is really stiff. She's not tilting properly, but great motor. Just needs a little bit of work. Here's a little interesting tidbit. You guys saw all the work on the boat with this carbon foam. Here's a close-up of it. So this is like military spec. I believe it's 3/4. Actually, it was all done to get to 20 mil. So do the math conversion. You can see the 090 carbon fabric on this side, and I believe it's the same fabric, yeah, on both sides. This has got a peel ply finish done perfectly. This is infusion done as I've been cutting this. You can see it's been drilled all the way through, so the resin saturates the outer or the upper layer of cloth goes through the foam core and saturates the lower level to just the right amount under the resin heat infusion process. And you get these perfect panels. This whole thing I'm lifting weighs, I would guess, 6 ounces. It's just incredible, and it's so stiff, has zero deflection, cannot bend this unless you're jumping up and down on it. So we were fortunate to get 6 big panels of this, about the size of sort of half the garage door. This is the what's now our backup rudder. I got to cut this temporary thing off. This was the wedge to help push the rudder blade forward. The old radar tower. I didn't throw it away because that's a really good tube, so we'll cut that off and reuse that for something. And finally we get a memento. There's a little bit of the Raven's Wing hull. We can live at home here now. That's what we had to cut off to make room for the motor mount. Weirdos like me save that kind of thing. And I'm super happy to get my good paddle board home. I took an good inflatable board down. It belongs to the boat now, and this guy is for the Petaluma River, which is just behind the hill of our house here. It's like about a half mile over to the launch ramp. Okay, that will wrap up the first wave of boat upgrades and ship riding in a foreign country. Worked out pretty well. Puerto Penasco. Raven's Wing is set, waiting for a little more love. See you guys. And happy Christmas, everybody. And we'll get you another video in the new year.